Hi, welcome to your course on Introduction to Society. My name is Professor V. Stephen Vessel, but I go by V. I wanted to go ahead and present you the invited slides for this course and just go over some general basic information each minute in order to present to you some additional we'll go through this here in just a couple of minutes. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. So where are we around other people in our daily life? Everywhere we go, basically, right? And this is what we call our society. How do we get around in our community interacting with others? Well, typically we don't. And so have you ever been in line with others? Did you find a common goal, like when you're at the airport and waiting to board a plane? The common goal allows you to interact with others. Oftentimes, it is a situation where before the plane, to get off the plane, there's etiquettes that go along with how we are expected to act with society, and this is the baseline or the foundation for what we call theology survey or the review of practices as a whole. So when you're out and about, you might think around practice of practicing sociology. So we're going to review baseline or the different practices that may here that imply within sociology. Something to look at today's society is what attitude and within the U.S. has shifted and changed over time. In sociology, society in general, and the formation of societal norms, what you should or shouldn't do in society as a whole. Society is a group of people that live in a defined geographic area who interact with one another and share a common culture. An awareness of the relationship between a person's behavior and experience and the wider culture that shaped a person's choices or perceptions. So we can look at background for this, look at different theorists in the past, such as Aristotle, Confucius, uh, and we can look at the different type of writings that they had and their viewpoint on how people interact with one another, and then with the more modern approach. Let's start with the earlier Auguste Comte. He says that it holds that objective measurable facts are the only basis for true knowledge, rejecting methods in favor of observable quantifiable data to describe and predict reality. He liked to view and review things from a factual perspective in order to describe them or to find meaning in them. And we have Harriet Martineau, and she said that she is basically the person who established early research methods, researching world's manners. She translated the earlier work by the Fireside Comte's work into English and analyzing inequality regarding race and societal classes. Actually, have probably the most well-known of these theorists, and his basis on or his communism manifesto. What the way he viewed society, he said that basically sociology is fundamentally shaped by introducing conflict theory, focusing on class struggle, power dynamics, and the impact of the economy on social structure. His critical analysis of capitalism introduced key concepts like alienation, historical materialism, and class concepts, emphasizing that economic structure rather than drives society change. Next, we have Herbert Spencer. He was a foundational British sociologist who applied evolutionary theory to social development. Coining the phrase survival of the fittest, he conceptualized the idea of social organism. Next, we have Mill established sociology as a distinct academic discipline. For the reason we're speaking in this course today, was her pioneering scientific methodology defining social facts as objectively analyzing how social solidarity maintained order. Key contributions include research of labor, functionalism, enemy, and groundbreaking on society and religion. Next, we have George Reed, the foundational meritologist and a philosopher who pioneered symbolic interactionalism, focusing on how this and society are created through social interaction, communication, and interpretation of symbols. He developed concept I and E. Next, we have Max Weber, who was a foundational German sociologist who established key concepts for modern societal scientific Protestant ethic. He distinguished religion and theory of bureaucracy and rationalization, and the Verstehen, or in German, the word understand method for understanding social. And then we have W.E. Du Bois. He was a pioneering sociologist who has scientific and empirical methods to study race, racism, and challenging of white supremacy. Which of these theories aim around to and posited or gave a different insight into how society functions. Each of these theories presents a way to observe society. If you break down textbook frames, he forces societal institution along three lines: structural functionalism, conflict theory, and symbolic fractionalism. Now, a theory, and you view the theory, you have to review its perspective or its overview on how society works. Here in the book, they show a picture of one of the technological advances where you look at society changing to more of a global. Here, this picture shows a Zoom meeting that started in Australia after the Sabbath and proceeded through each of the real time zones, effectively lasting much longer than a day. So a Zoom meeting that was worldwide. So as well, so does our society interacts with each other. Theoretical perspective here, shoot through balance. This chart here shows how you look at these theories and perspective, the level of analysis, the focus of the actually. If you take each one of these theories and then focus the analogies and the question that might be asked, it will allow you to understand the theories. Within society, we need to look at those who are pioneers who see something that is wrong, something that needs to be observed and changed in the book. So of those on display for you. So imposing your why the study of society, it helps us to grow as a society and business. It helps us understand the social systems and bureaucracies, and it allows us to understand ourselves. So some questions you should ask yourself while working in chat are able to investigate people's social media so they make decisions about people. And that is the time that we have for this lecture. Hope to see you in the moving course.